Howdy, and welcome to Book Your Give Here. We're Travel That Gives. I'm Lulu Lima, your chief travel guru. I hope this episode of Dream Now Travel Later inspires you to travel, and I invite you to give us the opportunity to help plan your next memorable trip. So grab your popcorn and enjoy.
Howdy, everybody, and welcome back. I am so excited. I've got one of my dearest colleagues, Mario Tushka from Lighthouse Adventure Travel. He was one of my private guides when I was in Croatia now this year in 21 in June. And oh my God, did he show me his country. And I have to tell you that he's one of the reasons why I fell in love with it. Because there is just so many amazing things. And while you guys may have seen me go live and do different, snippets and showcase a lot of what I did, I wanted to bring him to you. So this is all about curated travel. We're going to be curating everything and anything that you may want to do. Some of you guys may have already experienced that. And Mario as your guide is so amazing. You have to truly love this piece because this is all about you having your own personal guide throughout an amazing country. So without further ado, Mario, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lulu. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Mario, and I am 33 years old, born and raised here in Croatia. And I'm here today with Lulu on your screens, thanks to our friendship and partnership in the travel industry. And since early 2015, I've been a part of the travel industry through many different roles, where I was able to sharpen my skills as a tour guide, sea kayak instructor, office manager, skipper, adventure guide, and many more roles. And for the last 4 years of my life, I have been the founder of a boutique travel agency based here in Croatia, in my country. And it's called the Lighthouse Adventure Travel. And the reason why we're here today is for us to talk about Croatia as a destination. And I just wanted to share some of my pictures, stories, and thoughts with you and actually help you put the Croatia on the map of the world.
It's not even just the map of the world. It's really just in your bucket list. And we have to really put this on your bucket list. You see this view that you're taking a look at in pictures, you can literally experience this live. And our pictures are not photoshopped. And I can tell you that with my own eyes, I have seen the beauty of this country. It is an absolute hidden gem that we all really need to experience.
Yes, so this picture actually depicts Croatia as a destination because I believe that my country, it has more than meets the eye because there's a certain message we're sending out to the world about our country, but I think there's so much more. And as we continue to our conversation today, I will try to shine some light on our country.
Yeah, so let's talk about where Croatia is. So as you can see on the map right now, Croatia is in truly a heart of Europe. It has been affected by so many different other countries throughout history, but it has its own flavor. And that is super important. And getting to Croatia from the US is super simple. There are a minimum of 3 airports that we can fly into on an international basis. And then if you land somewhere else on this beautiful map, you can easily get to Croatia with a connection.
Yes, so when it comes to traveling to Croatia, it's a welcoming destination. It's safe to travel. There's not much crime or pickpocketing. Majority of the people speak English.
Yes.
So around is quite easy and it's convenient for you. So whether you're a solo traveler or a group, it's always safe to travel. And Croatia also makes a great destination for self-guided exploration. thanks to our modern highways, thanks to our regular buses and ferries, and also thanks to the friendly locals who will always point you in the right direction. So the full name of our country is Republic of Croatia. And as you can see on the map, it's bordering with multiple countries. So it's bordering with Slovenia, Hungary, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Montenegro in the south. The territory of the country takes 22,000 square miles. And as for population, we count 4.2 million. So for reference, that's like the population of LA on your side.
And LA isn't as big. So
we're rather a small country, not too many of Croatians, yes.
So it's a beautiful thing. So as we talked about the different airports, there are some other ones in here, so they're all highlighted. And again, the ferries, the trains, the roadways, everything is just super easy. And one of the things that I love about working with Mario is that he literally, being your private guide, will take you anywhere your heart desires. As we plan your amazing curated trip, you really will get to see a lot of the unhidden the hidden gems, because the unhidden gems are all the major cities, but the hidden gems within those little sections.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the best time to visit.
Okay.
I was there in June, and obviously I'm a summer person, so it gave me an opportunity to visit many different islands. And you know, we really want to kind of go, do you want to have an adventure where you can jump into the Aegean and swim right off your little yacht? Or do you want to have something a little bit cooler? So Mario, tell us a little bit about the different seasons.
Okay. So after we know how to arrive to the country, because we have 5 main international airports, and there are many flights throughout the year available to you for connection with Croatia. But then, of course, the next thing on the schedule is to decide when you want to visit Croatia. And important thing to know about our country is that we have multiple climates in the country. So the first one along the coastline is the Mediterranean one, meaning warm, dry summers and mild winters. But as soon as you leave the coastline, you move inland. There you will notice that we have a continental climate. So summers can still be hot, less dry, but the winters are the real difference. They get like cold and snowy as a proper winter. So that's one of the things I love about my country, because it still has all 4 seasons, and there's a distinct difference between all of them. And as you've said, a lot of people love to visit during summers, you know, because we are, before anything, a summer destination. And yes, that is the recommended time of the year. So anything between April and October is a great time to visit Croatia because of the international flights, regular schedules, because of the weather being predictable, so you can plan almost anything. And actually, the weather itself, we have one of the sunniest coastlines in Europe. So on an average yearly, along the coastline of the Adriatic Sea, we have around 2,600 hours of sunshine. You know, so beach holidays, great idea. So summers, most popular for obvious reasons. Our temperatures here are averaging between 75 and 90 Fahrenheit.
Isn't that a great temperature, guys? Aren't we always looking for something that is just the right temperature for us? And so this country really just has it all.
Yeah, it's a proper beach holiday vacation. And as you can see, there's a lot of the coastline for us to cover. Croatia has over 3,500 miles of coastline. And
did you know? And is it correct that Croatia actually has over 1,000 islands?
Correct, over 1,200 islands.
You can have your own private island, guys. Hello.
Yes, so actually, but only 50 of them are populated, and the rest of it, we're talking about like uninhabited islands. So indeed, it can be your private island for a day. So for example, this island right here on this picture, sometimes I would bring people here for a half-day picnic and for their own private island.
Isn't that an amazing adventure? Can you turn around and say, I've had my own private island for the day? That is so amazing. Even my dogs are happy about it. They're barking in the background.
Say hi to Nigel and Natasha for me.
Of course. So, and the beauty, I mean, it's truly untouched nature.
It is. Like, places like this can be found almost anywhere in Croatia. Like, you don't have to go far to find the proper hidden gem, you know? And so this is when we talk about the high season, you know, so April to October. This picture shows you that you can actually visit Croatia all year round. There is a slight difference when you compare traveling in the summers. That's because there are less flights, less international flights. Some of the businesses get closed down for the winter or fall. But it's still a great country to visit, even in those months. The only thing it has
wine picking, you know, your grapes you can
Yeah,
pick.
yeah.
Did you guys know that Croatian wines are really the heart of what started in Napa Valley? I didn't. I learned that when I was in Croatia.
Yeah, one of our most famous Croatian winemakers is based in Napa Valley. And actually, that's the beauty of the country, because you can visit it all year round. It just requires, how to say this, it requires a little bit more attention to your planning. And that's it. You know, like just 2 more details are required for you to plan your trip in the so-called off-season, and Croatia can be a fantastic destination for you.
And if you guys are really active, you're going to have, you know, great opportunities. There's still rock climbing that you can do. There is, we saw pictures, you know, of other things that people can do, you know, with swimming and all those water activities. But outside of water activities, you can go on these amazing hikes. With cooler temperatures, you can hike longer. Take it from somebody who tried to hike with these guys in the heat of the summer. I did 5 miles, guys. That was a lot for me.
And you did extremely well. Like I told you this, I'll repeat it. You did a great job on that day.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So, but here's, I mean, the visions of what you guys can find. You guys can find like the smallest church in, you know, known to mankind. It was amazing to like just be like, oh, in this little town, oh, we're gonna find this. And Mario tells you all of these things, and it's so like surprisingly fun. Like all of a sudden you're just getting all these fun facts. And you know what's best about it is that you really are learning, and you're not learning from a textbook. You're learning from living it, experiencing it, walking it. It's so great.
Thank
So
you.
let's talk a little bit about the different experiences. So we're talking about, you know, all of the different things that you can have here during, you know, all year round because the temperature's so great.
Yeah.
But the different experiences of what you're going to have, you know, from Dubrovnik all the way up to Zagreb and everything in between. There's so many moving pieces.
Yeah, well, for the sake of our conversation today, we can go on a small virtual trip around the country. Here on your screen now, you can see a mapped route throughout the Croatia, where we will pay, well, a virtual visit now today to some of the most favorite spots of Croatia to me.
Yeah. So we'll start off in Dubrovnik.
Sure.
Dubrovnik has so many moving pieces of inspiration. Now, before you get to Dubrovnik, we can get to Split, right?
Correct. But for this trip, I chose Dubrovnik as a starting point.
Yeah.
Because if we retrace our conversation a bit, we were talking about traveling to Croatia and getting
Yes.
here. So getting here by plane to Croatia is extremely easy, especially because there are direct flights for Croatia. And all of those flights at this moment, for now, they land in Dubrovnik.
And that's super awesome. So from the East Coast, there are direct flights, and so yes, Dubrovnik can be a great spot. I brought up Split because if we are going to be experiencing any of the islands,
Okay.
and you wanted to start your adventure experiencing, some of those moving pieces, you can start off in Split. And then you can then do your land portion starting off in Dubrovnik.
Sure. So Split can be a great starting point if you want to go for some island hopping, for the beginning of your journey. And then you can easily come back to the mainland and go to Dubrovnik, or you can even go through the seas to Dubrovnik. You can get a fast catamaran line and reach Split. Yes, reach Dubrovnik, sorry. So we are a country that we're bigger than we seem to be on the map. So there's
Yes.
a lot of logistics, a lot of moving points, as you said.
Yes.
But getting around the country is actually easy. It can be done. It's not a hassle.
And that's super awesome. And so some of the things that you're going to find in Dubrovnik, if you're Game of Thrones fans,
Okay.
this is an amazing city. If you, all of the history, there's so much history here about the different empires and walking the city walls that you really just, you become in awe, and you become in awe on how people live. This particular picture shows a portion of the city wall that you can walk in and you can see, people living their lives in the city. I remember watching a bride trying to walk through the city walls, and I don't think she thought this through with the heels that she was wearing. I will say that.
Well, I think it's one of those moments, like the things we do to look beautiful.
Yeah.
We endure through those moments, Yeah, so Dubrovnik is one of the last walled towns in the world, and it became world famous for its city walls. And actually, thanks to all the history, the rich history and culture of the town, when you walk within the old city walls, it's actually like you're walking through time and history. And as you said, Lulu, there's plenty of things to do while in Dubrovnik. So for example, you can visit a UNESCO World Heritage Site, being the old city. You can paddle in a sea kayak. You can explore the surrounding archipelago. There are many, many islands around the area.
You can even go up on a cable car.
You can go up on a cable car, correct?
And see an amazing sunset.
Yeah. You can have a 5-course meal in a Michelin-star restaurant. So there's a lot of interesting travel elements in one small town. So just to give you a scale, like the city of Dubrovnik counts around 40,000 people. It's
not that crowded, guys. You can totally social distance.
Yeah, it's a big name, but it's a small town. And this picture shows you what you can do after your visit to the city, because the city being the undisputed champion of the area, it's in a spotlight. But once you go out in the surrounding area, you can explore real hidden gems like the Elafidi Islands, Konavle Valley, Pelješac Peninsula, and also what you see here in this picture, it's the Bay of Mali Stone. where our world famous oysters are being grown. So that's an amazing experience as well.
And I gotta tell you guys, I mean, I can't eat the seafood, but I wish I could, because really going into Malistone, you will have an orgasmic experience of your oysters. I saw all of my colleagues enjoying them, and I wish I could have partaked in that. It was so amazing.
Yeah, because we take them right out of the sea in front of you.
Absolutely. So, so we talked about Split earlier, but now we're kind of, I go things out of order. Sorry, but here in Split, we have so many different moving pieces and history parts here, that one of the things that I loved about learning, in terms of walking through the various different islands and all of that, is that every little nook and cranny of every building has a history and has a story behind it.
Yeah, so like a proper historical tour in Split, it would take us multiple days, like for us to really cover. And Split is actually mostly famous. The most famous landmark in Split is the Diocletian's Palace.
Yes.
The UNESCO World Heritage Site, another one. We have total of 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Croatia. So there's a lot of history and rich culture for any traveler interested in that. And Split, as we mentioned before, but now you see the picture, a proof of what can happen once you arrive in Split. Split actually is a great starting point for any kind of island hopping, and especially sailing wise. So sailing holidays in Croatia are really popular. Travelers love to come to Croatia to explore the Adriatic Sea on a sailboat. And as you mentioned, Lulu, Split is a great destination for that. So for example, you can land at noon and set sail before lunchtime. That's it. But on the other side, on this picture, you see the other side of the medal of Split. So for example, if you don't go out there in the seas, you can turn around and you can explore the hinterlands of Split area. So here you can find back roads, river canyons, and our highest mountain peak as well. So if you choose a Split as your base, you can orbit around the area and explore so many different things. And still at the end of the day, you can come back to your accommodation and sit down and enjoy a glass of wine,
And you know what one of my favorite places was? It was Kirka National Park. So for those of you guys who follow me on Facebook, you'll see my Facebook profile picture that I took in June. And it's probably going to live there for a little bit, but it is the beautiful waterfalls. And there are so many of these hidden gems in terms of these amazing waterfalls, these views, it's truly a transformational experience in the sense of that wellness that just comes over you when you hear the water just coming down. It's just, there's a romanticness behind it.
There is. It does have a great effect on people. And so this is the next stop in our virtual journey is the Kirka National Park.
And voila,
here we are. Just to say in general about Croatia, because this is the current topic, is over 40% of Croatia's territory is covered with forest. We have 8 national parks, 11 nature parks, and over 30 protected reserve areas. So that means that for anyone in search of nature, you will have plenty of it here in Croatia. And I chose Krka National Park as our stop on this trip today because it's just 50 miles away from Split. And it got famous because of this waterfall. This is the famous waterfall of Krka National Park. It's called Skradinski Buk. And the park itself, it covers the area of 2/3 of the river because it's named after the Krka River. And actually, besides the beautiful nature, you can also enjoy the wildlife in terms of flora and fauna, because within the park area, we've discovered over 800 species of plant life and 200 bird species.
That's
You know,
so awesome.
it's a full day of everything when you come to Kirka National Park. Yeah.
Absolutely. So now that we've done all of those moving pieces, we're going to start moving a little bit further north. And
Good
now
choice.
we're going to go into Zadar. And Zadar has a different feel and a vibe. And you're going to go and you're going to experience so much of these things. So let's talk a little bit about Zadar, because I know that here was, I really enjoyed the views. And, well, I mean, how could you not love the views?
Yeah, best views ever in Zadar. And actually, I think of Zadar as one of those places. It's famous, it's popular, but still not as much. You know, there are other towns that people talk about more, you know, or mention more or visit more. And I think Zadar deserves a bit more of our attention because, so for example, compared to Dubrovnik's medieval history of Zadar goes way back, like 3,000 years back, since it was first mentioned in the written documents. And it became a fully urbanized center during the ancient Roman Empire times. And ever since then, it remained continuously inhabited. So for over 2 millennia, people have been living here in the area of Zadar. And ever since those first records, Zadar has been one of the most important towns on the eastern Adriatic coast, because we're not south anymore. This is the middle of the coast. And so nowadays, of course, it's well known and famous for its beautiful sunsets. And whenever I talk to travelers, I recommend Zadar to romantics, history buffs, and to anyone in search of the off the beaten path. You know,
and that's what this is about, off the beaten path. The whole country's off the beaten path for us as Americans, but I got to tell you, this is so amazing.
Yeah, we can really stray.
And this sunset is right then and there.
Yeah.
So you think you're going to have sunset views that you go, oh, I've seen that. No. There's a whole other level of experience with these sunsets.
Yeah,
people line up to see these sunsets.
Yeah, this is a great moment where you can sit down and just slow down.
Slow down, meditate, be thankful.
Yeah, just like to everyone traveling with me, I always recommend leave your phone in your pockets. Just sit down, enjoy the moments. I'll take the pictures and send them to you, you know, because nowadays, well, thanks to our technology, it's hard to be in the moment.
Yes.
So, and I just want everyone to experience Croatia in its fullest potential. So that's why I'm like behind the scenes, taking pictures, snapshots of everything, while you get to enjoy this, you know, the real moment, the real thing.
And that is so true. And talking about real moments, we're going to switch over to Pog Island.
Yeah.
And Pog Island has so many little intricacies. It's got you walking on Mars kind of concept.
Yeah.
It's got some amazing culinary.
It does.
And I think we should touch about all those moving pieces.
Oh yeah. So Pog Island, when we talk about off the beaten path, Pog Island comes to my mind as one of the first points in Croatia, because it still hasn't reached its full potential, you know. And Pog Island is actually Croatia's 5th largest island, but counts only 9,000 residents.
Guys, you want to get away from it all? This is where you go.
It has 2 towns only and a handful of a couple of just small villages, along the coastline. And it became world famous for its award-winning cheeses, olive oil, and wine. So this island doesn't have just the scenery, but also the gastronomy as well.
Yes.
And well, during your visit of this island, you can see salt plains, you can see olive orchards, you can see vineyards, you can see many, many beaches and coves. And there is one specific part of the island. Well, we refer to it as a part of another planet, like it's not. And that's how we've named our trails here. We've named it Life on Mars. And actually, this picture, you can see one of the parts of that area of the island, because to me, this looks like we found water on Mars, something, like a futuristic movie,
And how many movies have been filmed in this landscape?
A lot. So not just this landscape, but Croatia. So you've mentioned Game of Thrones.
Yes.
A couple of stops earlier. Croatia has also become a great filming location for a lot of TV shows, reality shows, movies as well. Like you've mentioned Game of Thrones.
Mamma Mia too.
Correct. We've had Star Wars. One of the episodes was filmed here. Robin Hood. Then you have reality shows like Below the Deck. Like one of those was filmed here in Croatia. And then you have also culinary shows.
Yes.
So,
And there's a reason why. The food is beyond orgasmic. So it is so fresh. It melts in your mouth. It tastes like it's supposed to taste. This little picture of all the cheeses kind of goes towards, the adventure of what Pog, can offer you in terms of the cheeses, and you can go visit that cheese factory. But can you imagine just sitting down and enjoying these amazing views with food that just makes your mouth go, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, that happens quite often in Croatia.
Yes, it does. And it happened to me. I experienced it. And it doesn't matter if you're a vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, herbivore, or anything else in between. If you're pescatarian, you can have it all. It doesn't matter. That's one of the reasons why I really fell in love with this country, because there isn't anything you can't get. And it's just, and then with views like this.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes you want to drop everything and just go, I want to hide in that.
Yeah, so that happens to me often, and I live here, and no matter how many times I see a place, a destination, I still can get shocked by my country. I can still get amazed,
And imagine having a tour guide who can still be amazed by what's in his own backyard. So that energy is going to be in your itinerary.
Yeah, well, it's difficult with a country like this,
Yeah, it's so full of everything.
Yeah.
So we're going over to Istria, and Istria is one of my favorite areas to talk about, not just for wine, but for gastronomy as well. And so Istria has such an amazing opportunity here because the land is so fertile.
Yeah.
And I mean, the wines that come from here, but also the truffles.
Oh yeah, the truffles. So the next stop on our trip is the Istria region. And even though you can't see it in this picture, but we're still on the Adriatic Sea. And Istria is our most westernmost county and also the largest peninsula. Counts around 200,000 inhabitants and has around 300 miles of coastline. So you are surrounded with the Adriatic Sea on all sides. It got famous during the Roman times as well, under the name Terra Magica, which means magical land. And people nowadays totally agree with that term of magical land because, as you mentioned, Lulu, this part of Croatia offers it all in one peninsula. So we can talk about gastronomy, we can talk about topography, we can talk about nature parks, national parks, islands, hilltop towns, and a lot of traditions as well that we can follow. So you've mentioned truffles, and actually one of the best things you can do while in Istria is that you can go truffle hunting. So this delicacy can be found in some areas of Istria, and spending some time with a local hunter searching for this black gold, and then having a cooking class with your catch.
And not only that, but you know who you get to go with to hunt? You get to hunt with some dogs.
Yes,
so for all of my dog lovers out there, you guys, you'll see these wonderful hounds at work, and it's just, again, an amazing experience. And it's not something, yes, you can do in the summer, but it's really better off actually in other temperatures.
Oh yeah. It's
So when you have some cooler temperatures, it is a much better adventure. So it really gives you an opportunity to go to Croatia multiple times.
that's a great perspective, yes. And actually that's that's the part where I see Croatia as a great destination for any time of the year. So for example, November, let's say November, you can come easily to Croatia, to Istria region for a gastronomy focused tour.
Yes.
So, because truffle hunting in that time of the year, amazing, even better than in the summers, because
Yes.
we have both black truffles and white truffles. There's a different season for them, but you can still visit the hilltop towns. You can stroll around them. You can still follow our traditions, just like truffle hunting, or you can go olive picking, harvest some grapes. You can join the locals, in their
Yes.
off-season life.
And
you know?
that's so important, because you have so much local cultural immersion that you can really experience. And you
Yeah.
can experience it whether you're having, your meal on the port side of things, just by watching, people walk by, or how they sit and how they love, or just how they interact on a daily basis, because it's not just about tourists that come to the area. This is about people who actually live here, and we're coming to experience their life.
Yeah, so when you travel here in Croatia, it's almost inevitable for you to become a part of our lives.
Yes.
And well, of course, it also depends on the time you spend with someone. So I'm guessing it's different with me spending like a full week or 2 weeks with you, and someone you see for an afternoon cooking class. But still, no matter how much time we get to spend with you, we will do our best in making you feel like a part of it. That's what we want.
And I can tell you guys, I did feel a part of it. I went and I experienced an amazing art gallery where I found a painting, and the owner did not know who I was, but it drew me in. Why? Because it looked like me.
Yeah.
And that was just super amazing.
Yeah, that was a nice moment back there in the gallery.
Yes, it was. And you're going to have those kind of moments everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we come to Zagreb.
Yes.
Where this is home.
This
for
is
you.
home to me. Yes, this is my hometown, and actually that's where I am right now at this moment as we're talking. And Zagreb would also be the last spot of our virtual trip for this conversation. Um, and actually, we have left the coastline now. So Zagreb is inland, it's landlocked, and it's the nation's capital. And I think of it as something different, something else compared to everything you've seen so far on the trip, because it's different. Zagreb is often overlooked in travel plans. It's more seen as a transit city than a destination. But over the last couple of years, it has silently become like a proper European capital. Like the picture you can see here, it's our Croatian National Theater. So even at the first glimpse, as soon as you arrive to the city, you will be amazed by the numerous museums, the captivating Austro-Hungarian architecture, and a wide range of things to do because it's a big city. So have in mind that in the urban area of Zagreb, there's 1 million people living. And if you remember that there's 4.2 million of us, it's a quarter of the country,
Yeah.
you know? And the thing I love about my hometown is despite its size, you know, in comparison with other towns and places in Croatia, it still has that healthy balance of a small village vibe and the grand metropolis, you know, bustling city, you know.
And you do feel that. And you feel that with the buses and the trams that you see as you walk by.
Yeah, public transportation is available to you at all times in the city. And actually being in the big city, you can think of vibrant food markets.
Yes.
A lot. You can think of cafe culture, coffee shops, bars, restaurants, and you can also think of lush greenery because throughout the city we have a great number of green zones, so meaning parks, landscapes, etc. So anywhere you go within the city bounds, you can find an area for peace and quiet, like a Zen moment zone. And
a zen in the midst of all the hustle and bustle. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you can like get disconnected quite easily. And also, I mean, even though we don't have the coastline, you can visit Zagreb all year round. So even wintertime, December, you can visit Zagreb and enjoy our Christmas festivals. You can enjoy our museums, the restaurant scene.
Who doesn't want to be there for Christmas? I mean, seriously, you're going to have amazing food, amazing culture, amazing, arts and everything else that's going on.
Yeah, Zagreb has actually won awards for the best Christmas festival, like for 2 or 3 consecutive years. And when you compare to that to the big city like Vienna, which is usually the champion of Christmas festivals,
yes,
it also helped us to put Zagreb on the map.
Yes.
And actually, as we said, like winter, yes, great time to visit. For this one conversation about a possible travel, about a trip plan, I've been talking to my travelers about a comparison of Christmas festivals,
Yes.
Like we wanted to just like use half of December to go around the festivals around the country and the surrounding region and compare the festivities, the food, the people, the culture and everything, So I think that there's always options in Croatia. You're not limited here.
Absolutely. And that's why Croatia has a story to tell. And no matter where you go in all of Croatia, there is lots of little things to talk about.
Yeah.
So with that being said, one of the things that I absolutely love about Croatia is its love for purple, because of course, I'm the purple queen, as you guys all know, but they have some amazing lavender fields as well. And everywhere you go, you can buy amazing lavender. And I have tons of knickknacks. Croatia was one I should say, one of my countries that I had an amazing experience in, that I broke my rule. And my rule was I usually don't buy little knickknacks. I usually don't buy anything else. Well, I bought wine like it was going out of style. I bought tons of little extras to the point that Mario had to go on a hunt and get me a suitcase, but not any suitcase, a purple suitcase.
A purple suitcase, yes.
And he did so. So I highlight this in this part of the area because this is a story to tell. This is a place where you think, I'm just going to go, I'm going to visit, I'm going to do everything electronically, take my pictures. Those are going to be my memories, which is what I normally do. And, you know, maybe I'll have one or two little small things that are, that can go with me in my carry-on bag. Croatia broke all my rules.
Sorry.
And I can't wait to go back and this time bring 2 suitcases with me. So that way I don't have to go hunting for another suitcase because I didn't bring one. And they'll leave empty from the US and they'll come back full. And they'll come back full of everything that I love about Croatia.
Yeah.
And that's my story. Are we ready to tell yours? Because there's so much to tell. You're going to have an amazing wellness experience all throughout the country because it's mind, body, spirit. It's not just you going in and, okay, I'm going to get a spa treatment. Not that you can't and you will, but the wellness that it brings you, it's so transformational. You have to go to Croatia. I can't say that enough. And with Mario as your guide, you will feel like you've been transformed. That's just me, my personal opinion.
And thank you for that. No, it's as you said, sure, we have spa, wellness, and yoga retreats available to you in the country. But when we talk about wellness in our country, when I talk personally, I think of those small moments where you actually slow down, disconnect yourself, and get in touch, you know, with your deeper self. Again, like a transformative experience.
And what better way to transform yourself than through gastronomy?
Highly recommended.
We talked about it earlier. The food just brings you to new heights. Even if it's something that you say, oh, I've had that before, or my grandmother used to make a version of this, or whatever, because there are so many cultures that have affected Croatia and who she is today, that there's different versions of, you know, meals and things like that. But at the end of the day, there's nothing better than to sink your entire self into these amazing gastronomy opportunities and let your tummy get a little bit and your taste buds, right? Let them get the experience too, not just your eyes and your nose and your, you know, your fingers for touching and all the sounds that you're going to hear.
Yeah. Well,
it's everything, guys. It's everything.
It is because, well, usually during my trips, I talk to the travelers, we share stories and we converse. Sometimes I have safety talks for different activities. Sometimes I have warnings or instructions. And one of the first warnings I give during our travel in Croatia is that our portion sizes are not the same here. So we give you more food than you're used to back in the States. And that it's not a sprint, but a marathon, because there's always another dish coming, you know, like it's never a salad.
We may have 3-course meals here in the US. They have like 8 to 10 courses.
Yeah. Yes. 3-course meal here is like a diet. as a diet. No, but joke aside, we can go like 1 course, 3 course, 5 course. Of course, more courses means smaller portions.
Yes.
So, for example, if I get you into a Michelin restaurant, it can be a 7 course meal, but it's a tasting menu, So like small, it's in bits and pieces, But if you join me for a cooking class, like this picture here, then we don't have 7 courses. We have like one family style shared course, and that's it. Because, so as you've said, that Croatia has been influenced by many different cultures. When it comes to gastronomy, we've become a proper melting pot in every meaning of that phrase. And actually, diversity is also in gastronomy when it comes to Croatia. So for the sake of that, is like we don't have a dish that we will refer to as a traditional, nor wine or a drink, because as you travel through the country, tables change, dishes change, like if you asked 100 Croatians about the national dish or national drink of our country, you would not get one same answer or 5 of them.
No, you won't.
Like I'm guessing between 10 and 15, easily. Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's all fun. That's
the beauty behind it all. So this is just a quick close-up of what your mouth already will start to experience. Your senses become alive. And that's what I wanted to talk about earlier or try to express. You can have everything under the sun that you could possibly think of, and your senses will still be amused.
Yeah. Our cuisine is very simple.
And the wines are amazing. Again, you guys think I was kidding? I have finished all my wine except one bottle, and I'm waiting for Christmas to open it. So I have made it last through 6 months because we're taping this in December.
Yeah.
So, and I was there in June of 21. Do you know that I need to already plan my next trip so I can bring back all my wine? Because I haven't said that enough times in this interview. Let me just say that again. You really need to go to Croatia and just experience the wine. And no, don't give it away. Because I know some people will go, oh, I can buy it as a gift. No, you promise you will want to buy yourself some and then have another suitcase for those that you're going to give away.
Correct.
And then you might change your mind because you might want them.
That's also a danger because if you're a wine lover, then Croatia is definitely a destination to discover, I would say, because our wines don't get exported that much. So usually the spot to have them is here in Croatia. And just the one exception to the rule is our winemaker, Mr. Grgic, back in California. So his wine you can get in the States.
But it still doesn't taste the same.
It's because of I think it's because of the ambiance and just the fact that you're on a holiday, everything feels different. And a lot of people tell me that the wine just doesn't taste the same back home. It's still a wonderful wine, but there's something missing,
Yeah, and it's called Croatia.
It's called Croatia, yes.
And if you haven't had any memories of Croatia to help you drink that wine with, you really are missing out. So let's talk a little bit about the road not taken, right? Because that is a truly off the beaten path adventure.
Yeah. So Croatia, I think of it as the road not taken. It is off the beaten path, and it is a hidden gem. Of course, we do have some famous popular tourist spots like any other travel destination. But
you can find some shipwrecks in some amazing places.
Yeah, so this is not a shipwreck, this is me, but a shipwreck can be found in a different location. But just like talking about off the beaten path is like 30 trips to Croatia won't be enough for you to see all of our country, you know.
No, it won't.
We're just scratching the surface, you know, like on every trip. But even in the middle of July, we can find an empty beach. We can find a long forgotten village that looks like it's stuck in time. We can cycle through that village, you know, and enjoy a moment of peace and serenity. And actually, when it comes to this part of travel, that's the luxury I like to talk about. The luxury of being away from the rest of the world, you know, which nowadays is hard to achieve, but also more than welcoming, you know.
It is so amazing.
Yeah.
So you can hike, you can bike, you can kayak, you can, you know, find all the different things in nature. And you think these pictures are staged, but they're not. This is really what it's like. You'll be the only ones out there.
Yeah. So, like a side note, all of these pictures and the presentation, I took those pictures on the trips because I don't like taking pictures from
someone else. No, I love it. So
yes.
You guys have a firsthand account of what it really looks like and what you can really experience.
Yeah, because for me to share something with the travelers, I need to experience it for myself.
Yes.
And I need to enjoy it as well. So
and that's the same with me. So that's why you guys know when I curate travel and I'm working with Mario, we are doing stuff that we have experienced firsthand. Yeah. And having known who you are, we're going to immerse you into an amazing adventure.
Oh, so complete immersion as soon as you land.
Yes.
Because when I travel, I like to go to the small people, let's say, and I love supporting the local community. And the reward I get in return is the insider access, yes. Like behind the scenes. And that's what I like sharing with the rest of the world when travelers come here, because I can get you in a cooking class in a local home. We can go for an art studio and have a private painting class, you know? And I'm just trying to help everyone jump into our story.
And it keeps travel sustainable and equitable. So you really do help keep the tourism dollars local so that local economies can thrive. And that's an important mission of my company, Book Here, Give Here, as well as me. So super, super important on all of those moving pieces.
Yeah, so actually in this picture, there's me, but there's also a local person that I love supporting. This is a boat captain on the Elafidi Islands, close to Dubrovnik. And we are just here enjoying a drink together, sharing our stories, talking, and just having fun. Because one thing that we as Croatians, as people, want to share with you during your visit is the simple life.
Yes.
You know, I think you can call it pura vida, you know? Like
yes. Listen, I think the Croatian lifestyle has a very good copy of the Costa Rican lifestyle, which is just that, pura vida.
Yeah, we know how to slow down,
yes.
You know, unwind, and we just don't call it pura vida here. We call it pomalo. And so this word in our dictionary, the official translation, it means slow or slowly. But here we use it as a way of saying, take it easy.
Yeah. Enjoy life.
Oh yeah. And we're experts at that. We know how to enjoy life. We know how to slow down. We are good at separating our work from leisure. And we love socializing. We love spending our quality time with family, friends, even colleagues, you know, yes. Like talking, you know, being out there and connecting with people in the real world.
Yes.
And one of the best examples of our Pomelo culture, way of life, is coffee. You know, like a simple small cup of coffee.
We can have so much coffee, and we can go through coffee by and you guys sip it. It's not like the American lifestyle where we actually chug it so that we can be awake and everything else. That's one of the things that I absolutely loved. We sat outside, enjoyed the coffee, and you can watch people enjoy one cup of coffee for like 2 hours.
Correct. And that's because, so as you say, I agree, our coffee culture is different when compared to the US coffee culture. So our coffee is rarely coffee to go. It's a proper sit-down experience. And you're right about the length of the cup of coffee that we have, because so it's not a hot beverage, you know, it's a social contract, the way I see it. You know, so if I call you, if I invite you for a cup of coffee, it's not because of the drink or the buzz, you know, or for us to keep on moving throughout the day. It's for me to sit down, you know, look you in the eyes and talk to you. Like, see how you're doing, how's life, what's changed, and just like, how are you? Like, simple question, 3
Things
words.
that we have forgotten here on this side of the world.
Yeah, well, it's just, we live in a busy world today.
Yeah.
And it's getting harder and harder to relax. And
the old world lifestyle is just what we need.
Yes, and that's what we cherish, and we nurture this tradition of a coffee culture of Pomelo. And yes, you can see us. So for example, like it almost feels like you can slow down time when you come to Croatia and enjoy the moments even more than usual.
And that is super awesome.
It is.
So it's time to kind of have the audience here create their own adventure.
Yes.
And I think that would be super amazing. I think you should have Mario as your guide. But if you prefer to create your own adventure with a self-guided tour, whatever you want, we can help you make that happen. And that is beyond super important. And you kind of, you know, just need to know that Croatia is really your adventure.
Correct. And my goal before anything is for more people to visit and experience Croatia.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be with me. It can be with anyone else, like no harm done, you know?
No. This is about curating your adventure, guys. So don't worry if it's Mario, if it's somebody else, if you guys decide, however it makes it fit properly. We will make this happen for you.
Yeah, because Croatia deserves a lot more attention. And well, speaking of attention and stories, that would be the part where I come in terms of our conversation today. One of my goals here is to help you learn about Croatia and experience it in many different levels. Because here at the Lighthouse, we cater to individuals and small groups, meaning that every adventure is tailored to your specific needs. This means in a way that you will truly own your trip before, during, and after the journey. And the first chapter of your Croatian story is getting in touch with Lulu and starting your initial conversation, talking about your travel plans, your interests, your topics, time of the year that you would like to travel, and also if there's a specific occasion to the trip, like it can be a family holiday, romantic getaway, because
an anniversary trip.
Anniversary trip, correct? Yes.
It could be anything. It could be proposal. You want to propose under that beautiful sunset? You can do that.
I'm good at keeping secrets. So if it's a proposal trip and no one is allowed to know about it, it can be done as well.
It's a beautiful thing. Mario, thank you so much for spending such an amazing time with us to talk about Croatia, your beautiful country, and your passion behind it. I am so excited that I can be a part of it. So with that, do you have any other parting words before we say goodbye?
Parting words. Thank you for the great opportunity to talk and share some of the pictures and stories with you. And to the travelers out there, wherever you decide to go, I wish you pleasant holidays and safe travels. That's it.
Well, then there you go, guys. You have it. So let's book your next trip to Croatia and let's make it beyond amazing. Until then, namaste.
Thank you, Lulu.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.